Okay. So very good evening. Today we have Miss Vandita Sarda, and she's four times, or actually recording me on Vata. So she's four times All India Rank 1. She ranked in ACET, in CP1, SP5, and SS7. She's also a qualified chartered accountant, and she has done it in just 4 years of time, both the qualifications. So yeah, big round of applause for her. And I request all of you to please switch on your cameras because this is going to be an eye-opener session for all of you. So now, to start with, we have the ACET examinations coming up in the next 25 days. So I'll first like to ask few hard questions from Vandita. So Vandita, tell us that what should be the apt prep strategy for the last 25 days in ACET?
First of all, thank you so much, sir, for the introduction. So coming to ASET preparation, I did my entire ASET preparation in probably a month or so because it was a very sudden plan to appear for ASET. But even if you do not have any prior actuarial knowledge or any kind of very strong mathematical knowledge, and you have been preparing all this while, irrespective, last 25 days should only and only be focusing on past exam papers and revision. You need to practice as much as possible. I have told this in my classes as well that the more questions you solve, the more variety you will get to know. And as you go on solving the questions, you will also be covering all kinds of concepts. And what that it happens that when we are studying, we think that we've understood the concept. But when the question comes, then we are not able to apply those concepts. So that will only come if you are practicing questions, giving mocks. Very important to time yourselves because ASET examination is of 3 hours and it's all MCQs, around 70 MCQs. But it might sound like it's easy, but when the exam actually happens and you have to solve everything. If you're giving the mock, then you know exactly what steps to skip and how can you do the rough work quickly. Because over here, you don't have to show any kind of working. So you have to time yourselves well. You need to know which questions you can spend time on, which questions you can't spend time on, and you only have to focus after practicing a few mocks. You give a few marks, you do a few questions, then you know which chapters or which areas you need to focus more on. So you quickly revise those concepts once again and then keep appearing for mocks, keep practicing past papers that are there on our portal. All our mocks also have past year questions. So it is best that you focus on them the 25 days. And also one tip which I always give is maintain a copy. At the back of the copy, everywhere you get stuck, every concept which you feel is something new or something you had forgotten, just note it down as soon as you recall it. And then the day before the exam, you only read those 3, 4 pages of concepts which you had noted. It can be across different sections, it can be mathematics, statistics, data interpretation, whatever. But if you just read that, then you will know where all you had missed earlier. So that will all be fresh in your head.
Okay. So many of the students they have joined us recently and they are like planning to defer the examination. So they just want a confirmation from the woman, the myth, the legend herself that is it possible to crack it in 25 days? And if yes, then what should be the allocation? So that there are five topics. There is LR, DI, English, maths, and stats. So rank them on the basis of easy to difficult ones and what should be the approx number of time and how should they basically plan? There are five subjects, so they're a bit confused on that.
Okay, so first of all, as of today, anyone planning or even thinking of eligible to appear for ASET at the end of this month should definitely appear for it, irrespective of what preparation they have done all this while. Because from now till the date of the exam, which is I think 30th of August, it is completely possible to crack ASET. Coming to the time allocation, just a moment, please.
Yeah, for that, taking a moment, and you all can also drop in your questions in the chat box so that I can just ask few questions from Am, the most important one, so that everything is covered in the 360-degree view. Yeah. You can also check your
Yes.
connection, Vandita, once. I guess it's fluctuating little bit. So if you can just check it and you can just connect to the phone or
Just a
something.
moment. Is it better now?
Yes, it's better.
Great. Sorry for the interruption. Yes. So coming to the time allocation. So as sir mentioned, there are five sections. In order of difficulty, I would say top difficulty in studying or preparing would be maths and stats. Next would be LR, and then uh, there is of course English and DI. So DI, once you have already done some level of preparation and you know what kind of graphs can come, what how to read different kinds of charts, etc. After that, you can more or less crack questions. It's very logic based. So you all have obviously done your schooling, etc. So all that is enough for DI. You just need to keep practicing. Similarly, for LR, there are few topics where we have some tricks, where we need to know a few things. So just those topics, if you do properly, then the rest you can always use your general knowledge. English also, it is not something you can learn overnight. So these three parts, I would say, every day give or allot 2 hours for just practicing these three topics. 2 to 2.5 hours for these three is more than enough. Rest of the time allocate to maths and stats 50-50, where maths you focus more on topics like calculus, topics like integration that are slightly more tougher, that has more variety of questions, more variety of concepts inside it. You focus, if you haven't done vectors and matrices earlier, I would suggest that it is not important that you cover every single topic properly. Whatever you know right now, you need to know that very well. Because even when I sat for my ACET examination, I did not do vectors and matrices properly. But you need to understand that out of 100 marks, anyway, ACET does not give any standard syllabus. So they can actually give you anything from anywhere. So it is not possible that you will, until now, in your boards, you must have felt that whatever you have studied in the book, that is only going to come in the exam. But in this professional world of examinations, it is not true. They can give you anything from anywhere. So this is the step where you start preparing yourself for that, that you can never know 100% of everything. They can always give a shocker to you. So in the exam, there might be a lot of questions or definitely a few questions where you will feel that you have no clue what is it. Even I had some questions like that, but I focused on those questions which I was sure about. I had to make sure that those questions I need to be accurate and I need to fetch every mark that I can. Those questions I was unsure about, I could simply just mark anything in those, and I just don't leave anything blank. That is for sure. Every single question should be marked, whether you know it or don't know it. Even if you have marked that question, make sure you are marking one option in that, whichever looks like the best option to you. In maths
Okay.
and in statistics portion, focus more on distributions because that is something we don't do at the schooling level. That is something new, so you will take some time to get comfortable with it. So practice more of those kinds of questions. Yes. So that's about the
Okay.
time
Okay.
distribution.
You mentioned about mocks, right? So in our LMS, there are approximately 20 mocks, which are the mix of all the past papers. So since they're giving first time examination, so what is the importance of mocks and how should once, so for example, I'm giving a mock and what should be the approach? I'm giving a mock and then how should I correct my mistakes? And there are 25 days left. So from when should they start giving the mocks and how should they basically evaluate and what should be the step forward?
Right. So mocks, of course, about importance of mocks, I cannot stress enough on their importance. For any paper, giving mocks is very important, but because that is the only place where you can judge your time and accuracy together. Any other form of practice that you do, you will be able to judge only one. Even in mocks, as sir mentioned, we have 20 plus mocks on our portal. And in among those mocks, I would suggest not all 20 need to be given in the 3 hour stipulated time. One method which you all can follow is first two mocks you give, focusing only on your accuracy, where you try and solve every question, but you don't consider time very important over there. From that, you will know which concepts you need to still focus on. After that, two mocks you give that where you are focusing more on time rather than accuracy. You will try and solve every question as quickly as possible. You will try to do everything in that stipulated time. And then after those four mocks, you will know number one, what kind of questions come. Number two, what are the areas you are lacking in where you need to focus more. Number three, you will also know that any topic that is taking a lot of time to solve. So you will know, you will try to work on how to make that process quicker. After that, you give one mock or if possible two mocks in a day. For those of you who haven't started giving mocks yet, try to give two mocks in a day after some time, because then through those mocks you will also be practicing. After you have given the mock on the portal itself, you can see the results. There are explanations for all the questions, detailed explanations. There are also videos previously, the classes we have taken on those mocks where I have explained or some other faculty has explained the questions again. So you can watch those classes, and from there you can understand where all to focus.
Okay, the one important question they're asking is since they're short on time, so is watching all the classes important or they should go with the mocks and then which all portions are difficult, they should watch, what should be the approach?
Definitely, right now, I would not recommend that you watch all the classes. I would recommend that, see, the ACET syllabus, I would say is around 70% of what we already know and 30% of new things. So definitely start with watching the classes of those 30% things so that you at least have an idea of what is it. And of those 30%, what are the topics that you will actually be able to cover properly till the exam. And of the remaining 70%, which are the topics which you have already done in school or somewhere, those topics where you personally feel weak, that you should only judge after you have tried appearing for, let's say, two mock examinations. Because then you will realize out of those 70%, which are the topics where you feel that you still need improvement, or you still feel that there are few things you do not remember properly, or there are some new concepts that are there in ACET which you did not, which was not taught to you previously. Then you should just focus on those classes, and all the classes that are there, they do have some sort of details on what kind of topics are covered in it. So it'll be easy for you to spot which videos to watch.
Okay. So when I was studying for ACET examination right after my CA inter, I always used to focus on those topics which are on the extremes. So I always used to fear that this might come up for 5 marks, this might come up for 10 marks. But eventually, after giving a lot of exams, I realized that you should always think normally. So how would you guide them to think about the top
Mhm.
80% thing and not focus on the extreme 20%?
Definitely, the 80-20 rule is applicable everywhere. There will always be 80% of the things that are going to fetch you the most amount of marks, and the remaining 20% will not be that relevant. So you need to understand that for ASET, even though the 80-20 rule does apply, you need to decide which is your 80 and which is your 20. There will obviously be topics which I previously mentioned in maths and stats, which will always come in good amount. You will have a good number of questions from topics like integration, from topics like vectors, matrices, from topics like relation functions. But For example, there is sequence and series. For example, there is, let's say, central tendency or dispersion. From there, even the questions that will come, they will be relatively easy. So you don't need to spend as much time on topics like those. You need to focus more on those topics, and you need the second part is you need to focus on the topics where you feel confident. Because in sitting in the exam hall, when those topics will come, it will boost your confidence and you will not feel uh, discouraged when you are faced with questions that you might not know, because you will be sure that yes, before this the question I attempted, I'm 100% sure of that. So that confidence really helps sitting in the exam hall.
Okay. So now stress out on the importance of time management during the examination because they'll be sitting for the first time and like there is a system of flagging and you have given a lot of exams. So what is the mindset during the exam that they should fit in their brain before entering the exam hall?
Right. So for ACET particularly, I would say that because it's MCQ based, 100 marks, you have around 180 minutes. For every mark, roughly keep just 1 minute. The point eight that gets left out, that you are leaving for all the tougher questions. 1 minute per mark is for the base level, or for the average level rather. There will be few questions that you are able to solve in just 40-50 seconds, and there will be few questions that will take up to 2 minutes also. So 1 minute on average, try and solve as many questions as possible. That is the target. But of course, you can always take 1.2 minutes also per mark. But 1 minute, if you, in the very beginning, if you try to focus on maintaining that time, then in the end, you will not feel like you are in too much of a hurry. From the very beginning, don't make the mistake of being very relaxed in the beginning, or being extremely uh, being extremely in a hurry basically in the beginning, that I might not have time in the end. Throughout the exam, you have to maintain a constant, decent level of hurry where you have to be at your best. There is nothing that you, no point where you should be at your worst, or no point where you should be at your best. It is one single speed that you need to maintain in the entire exam. And for that, it is very important to keep a good buffer time where every question, once you have spent the average time and you're still not able to crack it, you have the option, you mark it, and you keep that for the buffer time. And whenever you mark a question, make sure that you are choosing an option and then marking it, because a lot of time it happens that towards the end, in case you fall short of time, you might not have time to revisit those questions and mark an option. So that would mean an unnecessary miss. So whenever you are marking, by marking, I mean setting something aside. So on the ACET portal, you will find the option of marking a question for later review. Choose an option whichever you feel is your best guess and then mark it. Don't leave it blank while keeping it for review.
Okay. So like one more thing like up just in a like in a glance if you can tell that this are the topics which we should stress on so that they can cover the 80% of what we talked about.
Okay. So starting from mathematics, I would say start from calculus, because that's usually something that is tough. So even inside calculus, I would say start from integration. If you already have prior knowledge of calculus, start from integration, then limits, and in the end is differentiation. With integration also comes the miscellaneous topics, which if you have seen the videos or the paper somewhere, things like Taylor series, Maclaurin series, because they are very easy things and they usually come for 2 marks in the exam. So that those are very easy 2 marks. So that is inside calculus. After that, I would say focus on relations and functions. Then comes vectors, matrices, and after that come all the miscellaneous topics inside maths. After that, coming to stats, I would say order of priority would be the probability distributions, both discrete and continuous. Second would be central tendency dispersion. But if you already have good confidence in that, don't spend too much time on it. After that will come correlation regression, and then all the miscellaneous topics inside stats. DI is just practice, nothing much to focus on in DI. Overall, you just need to practice as many questions as possible. Same with English. Try to do more things in try to do more past papers, and then focus on additional resources only if you have the time, but focus more on past papers. For logical reasoning, important, very important, I would say calendar, clock, because definitely one question from both topics will come, at least one question. And the questions that will come might not be solvable using just normal reasonableness. You need to know some tips and tricks. So, clock and calendar, you must do properly for LR. After that, come topics like all these analogies, then we have syllogism. These topics you can practice, and otherwise, rest everything is more or less based on common sense, so you can just practice those. But for studying point of view, clock and calendar are very important in LR.
Okay. So yeah, that was it from my end to ask some of the basic questions. Now, any other tip which you would like to give the students, and you will also be taking few lectures. So like any other thing which you'd like to point out? Like one of the students, she mentioned that the 2025 March attempt exam was a quite challenging paper. So if we can solve that, it would be really great.
So we are
Okay.
always open to what the students want. And in fact, in all my classes also, the first priority in the last 1 month is always what you want rather than what I want, because you all are the ones who are doing the preparation and you all know where you feel lacking. So we will only focus now on doubts. I have told you all, don't wait very long for any kind of questions, doubts. Try to get them solved in the group or on the portal itself. Because if we are even having weekly classes, then holding on to that doubt for 1 week doesn't make sense right now. So that is there. And
No,
of course, any kind of papers we want to solve, that also we'll solve in class.
yeah, currently we are having almost everyday classes. So just we'll need your expert help in one or two major things. So yeah,
Yes,
that's it from my end. And yes, please keep preparing. And we'll keep one lecture at least every week so that
every day.
by ma'am, so that the consistency goes on. And yes, don't worry much. And we have started with new CM1 and CS1 batches for November 25 attempts. So if you all think that yes, you have time, because studying 7 hours or 8 hours will not make any difference. So try to at least join a paper so that you complete the main thing, like for the November 25 exams, that is really important along with it. So yeah, that's it. Yes, Kushagra, we have answered this. I guess you joined this late. So ma'am has already answered this. Please watch the video. We'll post it in YouTube, so that will help you. So yeah, thank you so much for joining, Vandita, and thank you all of you for joining. And
Evening,
we'll
sir.
keep hosting such. Yes, yes, Kushagra.
Sir, I want to ask that like I joined recently, so I
Yeah,
should watch
Kushagra,
lecture.
that we have answered at the start only. You should, ma'am has told that you should start with mocks, and wherever you feel you're stuck, and then you watch those lectures. Okay, just
Yes.
watch the starting part. You will get hold of that. Okay, thank you so much for joining. We have kept it short so that you stay motivated and do all the problems. And a minimum of 5 to 6 hours, please spend in the for the last 20 days, because it's really important to accelerate right now. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Vandita, for joining. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All the best, all of you.
Thank you.